All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk to you about Canaan Inc., stock ticker CAN. They are in the Bitcoin mining space, and I'll explain that in more detail later. I do think there's a little misconception about what these guys do, so I want to go through this stock. This is a highly volatile stock that I think has some major upside, but they also have some high level of risk involved. So I want to talk about both of those things. They just put out their first quarter 2022 earnings, so I want to go through that as well, and then we'll take a look at the chart. So if you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe and to hit the notification bell. If you're not new to the channel but you haven't subscribed yet, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. Also, there's a link in the pinned comment below to our free Discord, and we discuss small cap, high growth stocks all the time in there. We discuss the Bitcoin mining stocks and Bitcoin, so we'd love to have you over there. Come on and join us. So let's talk about Canaan. All right, right now this stock is trading at $3.13, and I'm in the middle of the trading day on Wednesday. So this is very near the low end of its 52-week range. It's $2.56 is its 52-week low. $11.50 is its 52-week high. So this stock has had massive swings in price. And if you look at the 6 months before that, it was even much higher than that. So this stock is down, I think, 80+% over the course of the last 16 or 18 months, despite the fact that their performance has been absolutely outstanding. Okay, so just to put it in perspective, right now their market cap is $581 million. If I take a look at a chart of their market cap over the last 2 years, you'll see that in the beginning of 2021, this was in March of 2021. So again, there was a bubble in January, February, March of 2021. So this may have been a little overvalued, but this was a $5.4 billion company, which means they are down 90% in market cap over the course of the last 15 months. So the question is why? Because they are a company that you're going to see is performing very well. So I'm going to start with the why. This is the bad news. And then I'm going to take a look at why I think actually this could be a good risk reward stock to potentially invest in. This is a stock I think that should be on people's watch list. And there's a few factors, and you'll see what they are. And you're going to have to decide how you feel about those as to whether or not you think this is a good stock to invest in. So, please do your own due diligence, but I want to give you a heads up. Here's the bullet point topics of what's going on in Canaan. So let's start with the bad news. This is a press release put out by them on May 5th, so earlier this month. Canaan today provides an update on its status under the Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act, the HFCAA. The company was provisionally named by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission as a commission-identified issuer on May 4th, 2022, following the company's filing of its annual report on Form 20F for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2021, with the SEC on April 29th. The company understands that this identification indicates that the SEC determined the company uses an auditor whose working papers cannot be inspected or investigated by the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. So the bottom line of this is, in accordance with the HFCAA, the SEC shall prohibit them from being traded on a national stock exchange or in the over-the-counter trading market in the United States if the company has been identified by the SEC for 3 consecutive years due to the PCAOB's inability to inspect the auditor's working papers. So this was year 1 of them being identified. They have a 3-year window, but this is a giant cloud that looms over their head. So in the last paragraph, they say the company has been actively exploring possible solutions to protect the interest of its shareholders. The company will continue to comply with applicable laws and regulations in both China and the US and strive to maintain its listing on the NASDAQ. So that's a very generic statement. They say they're going to address this, but right now they are out of compliance, and this is a very hot button issue just based on world events right now and supply chain issues and foreign relation tensions. This being an ADS of a Chinese company is definitely hindering the price of their stock. And obviously being out of compliance in this way is a big cloud hanging over their head. So with all the other positive news I'm about to go through, understand they have to solve this problem or ultimately they will be delisted from the NASDAQ. Now, that will probably not be for the next few years, but that is not something you want hanging over your head as a company, right? Whether the very question of whether or not you're even going to be listed in the future. So this is a problem they must solve. It's a fairly simple solution, so I don't know why they just don't hire an accounting company to go through and redo their audit. Switching auditors is painful, but obviously at this point they have to do it or they're going to get delisted. So that's the downside on this. That is the risk part of the equation on this. The additional risk part of the equation on this is what this company does is they make Bitcoin mining machines and sell Bitcoin mining machines. So I also want to talk about the fact that they do mine some Bitcoin, but this is not a Bitcoin miner. And I know that there are a lot of people in the marketplace that feel this company is a Bitcoin miner. And while technically they do mine Bitcoin, last year it was about 2% of their revenue. And even as they enhance their mining operations a little bit, I don't see this getting any more than 5% of their revenue. This company makes their money, and they make good money selling Bitcoin mining machines. In fact, they're having trouble keeping up with the demand. So this is a hardware company. Okay, the other thing that I want to point out on this page is you'll see a PE ratio trailing 12 months, about 1.5. Okay, so that is staggeringly low. You will be hard pressed to find a company with a 1.5 PE ratio. It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, what I just talked about is weighing extremely heavily on this stock. The other thing that weighs on this stock is, there's a belief that over the course of time, the demand for Bitcoin mining machines will line up with how well Bitcoin is performing. So as Bitcoin has been underperforming, people are worried about the potential demand for these machines. In reality, the demand has not decreased. Their 2022 sales are significantly more than their 2021 sales, so they continue to increase their sales and grow as a company. This is a cash flow positive company. They actually have extra cash left over. In fact, for the second year in a row, they have issued a stock buyback plan. They're allocating $100 million to buy their own stock back because they know at this price, just from a technical analysis, this is a very oversold stock. Now, again, there's legitimate risk rewards to this. So, please do your own due diligence. This isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy this stock. I'm not telling you to sell this stock. But what I am saying is they have allocated $100 million of their own dollars to buy back some of their stock. Interestingly, at the same time, they've also done a shelf offering at the market to sell stock. So I believe that they are anticipating they're going through a period of a downturn where their stock is wildly underpriced. I think they're looking at maybe buying $100 million of this back and giving themselves the option, if this runs up, to potentially to sell stock and get some more cash on a going forward basis at some point in the future. So it seems a little weird to have a buyback program and a shelf offering at the same time. They have stated they have no plans to use that shelf offering, but it exists. Canaan Inc. reports unaudited first quarter 2022 financial results. First quarter 22 operating and financial highlights, and I'm just going to try to use the US dollars. Obviously, that's not the native currency to this company. Okay, so total computing power sold was 4.3 million terahash, representing an increase of 119% from the 2 million in the same period 2021. So you can see that's double the computing power that they sold in the first quarter of 2022 versus the first quarter of 2021. So they are not having a demand problem at all. Revenue was $213.9 million, representing a 236% increase from the same period in 2021. So 236% increase. You can see this company has grown drastically. Net income was $69.7 million compared to net income of $1.2 million in the same period 2021. So this is a net income of $70 million in the quarter. This company's market cap is only $500 million. At this pace, this is why they're looking at some type of 1 or 2 to 1 PE ratio over the course of a year. That's extremely low. You will not find examples of that other than highly distressed companies for some other reason. So this is not typical. The overall market tends to trade, even in down years, well over 10% price earnings. And there are plenty of stocks trading at 20 or 30 or 40 PEs. Non-GAAP adjusted net income was $85.7 million, representing a 279.5% increase from the same period last year. Okay, they then go on to say, as we continued to develop globally, we established an international headquarters in Singapore, which has already earned recognition and support from the local authorities. So I think this is one of the measures they're trying to take to separate themselves from whatever pressure that is being put on this stock as a Chinese company. However, their operations, I believe, are still mostly in China. Now, they've moved their headquarters to Singapore. We'll see what that means over the course of time. They still have their SEC violation to get in compliance with. They say, we also have been ramping up our mining business despite power shortages, and we now hold a total of 166 Bitcoin on our balance sheet. So you can see, versus the Bitcoin mining companies, that is an insignificant amount of Bitcoin. I think they mined 140 Bitcoin in the fourth quarter of 2021. I believe they now have about an exahash of mining. So again, these are all very insignificant numbers for them. I do not think their mining operations will get to 5% of their total revenue. This is a hardware company. Okay, so I just want to go to their business outlook. For the second quarter 2022, the company expects total net revenue to be in the range of $252 million to $283.9 $9 million. So that is an increase sequentially quarter over quarter. And quarter one was a fantastic quarter. So again, remember, this company has a market cap of $580 million. They're going to have sales of potentially $283 million just in the second quarter of this year. So their price to sales ratio will be under 1. It may be 0.5 by the time the year is done. That's price to sales. So price to earnings we'll have to see, but it looks like that's going to be a very low number unless there's a correction in this stock as well. So with all that said, let's go take a look at the chart and see what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to start on the 1 week time frame just to show you how high this stock actually got. So back in March of 2021, this got up to $39.35. So to put that in perspective, it's now trading at $3.16. So they are down something in the neighborhood of 92% over the last 15 months. Now, I do like to cross this period out. There was a gigantic bubble in the small cap high growth stocks, and everything got out of control last kind of February and March of 2021. So even if I start when they got all the way down to $11 in June of 2021, their stock is still down 72% from there. So this stock has been trending in the wrong direction for the entire last year, and that trend continues. I'm going to switch over to the daily. This is Canaan stock on the 1 day time frame. So just to put it in perspective, if I go back to this green line that I've made right here at $6.90, that is just 2 months back. So 2 months ago, Canaan was trading at this price. In the meantime, their operational results that they released were outstanding, yet their stock has gone down dramatically. So they have quarter after quarter of very good earnings, and their stock continues to fall. And obviously, this is due to pressures and influences outside of operations of the company. So the other big thing to remember is Bitcoin is hanging around at about $29,000 right now, and people are definitely correlating this stock to Bitcoin. First of all, there's a lot of retail traders that think this is a Bitcoin mining stock. So I just want to put in perspective, while they do actually have mining operations, they are insignificant, and that is not the success or failure of this stock. However, they are still linked to Bitcoin due to the fact that they produce ASIC machines for Bitcoin mining. So their product is Bitcoin mining machines. So it is reasonable that in some way they are correlated to Bitcoin. In my view, this stock is extremely oversold. The other thing about this stock is they are profitable and they are cash flow positive. So cash burn rate and all that stuff does not matter for this company at all. They are cash flow positive, so they never need to raise money again. So there is no real worry of a death spiral on this stock because they don't need to raise any equity through their stock. They can grin and bear it, and in fact, they can do what they're doing, which as the stock price goes down, they can just continue to buy their own stock back. So from that perspective, it will not affect the company. However, the market is the market, and right now, these clouds looming over this company seem to be winning out in the short term. I'm going to leave that as my only price target, and again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy this stock. There are definitely pros and cons on this company. Operationally, they seem to be performing outstanding. However, there are other forces driving this stock down, that some of which are outside of their control. So be very careful with this one. If you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.